Good evening. Welcome to Vibin with Ashley Live. I'm your host, Ashley Live. Happy New Year, everyone. It's 2021. Finally, right? Like 2021. So excited for it. And just want to thank everybody for popping in the room tonight. Tonight is a great show, episode 37. Matt Cusson will be joining me this evening. He's an award-winning singer, songwriter, guitarist, and pianist, and really excited to invite him in the room. He's worked with everybody under the sun: Stevie Wonder, Anderson Paak, CeeLo, the list goes on and on. He's going to get into all that later when he pops in. But really excited to bring him in the room and for you guys to hear him sing and become amazing fans of his. So I start each show off with a song lyric. So tonight it's going to be a song lyric from the one and only Stevie Wonder. I mean, we all love Stevie, right? From the song Sir Duke from the 1976 album Songs in the Key of Life. Music is a world within itself, with a language we all understand, with an equal opportunity for all to sing, dance, and clap their hands. But just because a record has a groove, don't make it in the groove. But you can tell right away at letter A when the people start to move. And Stevie, you are a legend. We love Stevie Wonder. Like, everything Stevie writes is legendary and iconic and just withstands the test of time. So Matt is going to pop in here shortly, and just want to say thank you guys for the support all the time. I see people in here that I haven't spoken to in a number of years, and some people who are friends and family. So thank you again for your support and continuing to support me, as well as all the amazing, talented artists that I have on this show. So we're going to hang tight and wait for Matt to pop in the room, and we're going to get this interview started. Hi, guys. Hello. What are everyone's New Year's resolutions? Does anyone have any that they want to share in a public forum? Okay, we're going to hang tight and wait for Matt. Oh, there is Matt. Matt's going to pop in the room shortly, and I'm going to bring him on in.
I'm
Hi.
sorry I'm late. Hi, I'm sorry I'm late.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You're fashionably late. I was before you in the room, share a song lyric before while I'm waiting for the artist to pop in the room. And I wanted to share the song lyric with you as well, because it was from Sir Duke from the one Stevie Wonder. And
Yep.
Yes.
Love that song.
Yes, love Stevie Wonder. You actually have been fortunate to work with Stevie Wonder.
I played with him a couple times. Once was for the Brian McKnight television show. I was in the house band in the Brian McKnight television show. It only lasted one season, but I got to play for Smokey Robinson, Paulina Rubio. It was incredible. But Stevie Wonder was the very first show. And I got to play keys. We played, what do we play? Do I Do and My Sharia Moore. And it was so, first of all, Stevie is my ultimate. You know, Stevie, since I was a baby, was everything. And he still is. It was so nerve-wracking that I didn't enjoy the moment at all, because I was terrified the whole time. But now that I get to look back, there is a video of it somewhere. It was, you know, it doesn't get any better than playing keys for Stevie Wonder. When he first walked in to the rehearsal, he said, "Where's the keyboard player?" And Brian McKnight said, "Right behind you." And he said, he introduced himself. I said, "I'm Matt." He said, "Okay, Matt, follow me." And that was the most terrifying thing, because he's an incredible keyboard player, like one of the best. And so it was terrifying, but it was fun. And it ended up being a really awesome show, and he's Stevie.
Oh, I love it. I think it's so amazing that you had an opportunity to just be in his presence. Like, what is that
Crazy.
like?
Oh, he's a musical god, and that's one of, I've been to parties that he was at, and the first time I met him, I was 20, 21 maybe, and it was at a party in New York City, and the guy that I was with actually used to manage Billy Porter,
Hmm.
and I was there with him, and he said, "Hey, Stevie's coming in. Why don't you come get him with me?" And I was like, "Okay, God." So I got to walk Stevie into this party, and I actually told him, "Stevie, I'm sure you hear this every day, but you have changed my life in every single way. Musically, I'm a musician." At the time, I was working with, I think, Lava Records, and I was like, "I'm an artist on Lava Records, and I hope one day that we can, do anything together." And he was so sweet. Every
Aw.
time we've met him, actually, my wife is sitting right here with my new child, and she met him. Well, it was in Vegas, right, at CES, and we got to listen to him like it was like 3 in the morning, jam and play things like you've never heard him play. It was incredible.
Yeah. That is such an incredible opportunity, not just for fans of Stevie Wonder, but for also for musicians, just to have the opportunity
Oh yeah,
to spoke to him and you played with him. So it's kind of like
yeah.
when you were talking about playing with him and,
Hmm.
such an incredible experience.
Well, now every time I run into him now, which has been a couple times, I get to say, "Hey, I was the keyboard player for the Brian McKnight." She was like, "Oh yeah, man, how you doing? How's Brian?" Like it's crazy, so
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Because
And
you
I
have a connection with him. You're not just like a random person.
Right, right. I always start every time I see him. I start with, "I played keys for you here," and I'm actually good friends with his. I don't know if she still plays. Victoria Theodore used to play keys for him, and I remember calling her like a couple nights before we knew we were doing those two songs, and I was like, "Okay, there's piano, Rhodes, strings. There's so many things going on," and I had 4 keyboards, so I had to do a lot.
Oh, wow.
And I just called and I said, "What should I play?" Because I'm terrified. She was like, "Learn the string parts, learn this with the left hand, and then go over here for the chorus." It was a lot, but
Yeah.
I'll take that experience anytime. I love the challenge too.
Yeah, of course. You grew up in a very musical family. Tell us about
Hmm.
your and how old you were when you first got into music.
Honestly, it's all I ever did. I So yeah, I grew up. My mom was a piano teacher, classical piano teacher. So every day from uh, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. there were like these little piano exercises, and then some of the advanced students were or whatever for release and all that stuff. Uh, so there was always music being played, and then when my dad would come home from work, my mom would be done teaching, and he, she just burped, and I'm very proud of my little daughter for burping. Sorry, everybody. I have a newborn. She's 4 months today, and when she burps, makes daddy proud. Um,
So cute.
yeah, she burping is important when you're 4 months. Where was I? Yeah, so when my mom would stop teaching, my dad would come home and he would play a lot of his jazz records. He played Take Six and Joe Sample and so many different things. And so then it was immediately into that. And my brother and sister, who were both 10 and 12 years older than me, my sister was into the funk, the R&B. She also sang. She played flute when she was younger. So that's where all the Stevie stuff and all that came in. And then my brother was into the singer-songwriter, the Billy Joel, the Elton John. So it was just like this melting pot of classical, jazz, pop, everything. And I kind of took it all in. And I started playing piano when I was, I think, 6.
Hmm.
Started singing immediately. And I actually played drums when I was 10 for like 3, 4 years. Picked up the guitar when I was like 15. I just tried to do it all. I wrote my first song when I was 11 called She's a Cutie. It
Hmm.
was really bad. It was really, really, really bad. But we're supposed to write bad songs when we're 11 years old, unless you're
Of
Michael
course.
Jackson or Stevie Wonder. Yeah. So, yeah, it was all around me. And I had all relatives that played in bars for a living. I still have my cousin David plays in Vegas and New Orleans all the time. So the very musical family that goes on and on. My dad was a choir director growing up. I could go on. I'm very long-winded, as you can tell. I'm also exhausted. So I don't know what time it is. I don't know how long I've been talking.
No, you're totally good. I actually heard that you were playing Ribbon in the Sky by Stevie Wonder at 6. Is this true?
Yeah. So I my mom was upstairs. She would have lunch breaks or students would cancel, and I would run down and play the piano. And I love Stevie Wonder since I could understand what music actually was. And Ribbon in the Sky touched me from 5, 6, 7 years old, and I love the intro. So that's wrong. That's totally wrong. I haven't played it in a while. And I learned that, and I remember playing it for my mom because I'm an ear player. I don't read a note of music at all.
Really?
So I remember not a note. Yeah, it's like German to me. So when my mom heard that, she was like, where'd you learn how to play that? Because I used to just go down and bang little, chords out. She said, where'd you learn that? I said, I don't know. I really wanted to learn it, and there it is. And then when my dad got home from work, she was like, play that for your dad. And I played it, and they were like, crap, he's going to be a musician. And here I am. Here I am today.
No, that's a great thing that you're going to be a musician. And for you to not even read music and just teach yourself how to play is phenomenal. Like, who's playing Stevie Wonder at 6 years old?
Stevie Wonder. No, it's pretty, there's times where I wish I did it the old fashioned way and learned how to read, but no regrets. Yeah.
How would you describe the music that you create?
I get asked this a lot, and I honestly don't know. There's a lot of different ways I go about it, but for my own music and my own records and covers that I choose to sing, they're usually really personal. Style-wise, it's all over the map. It's a marketer's nightmare. My first album was on Spectra Records. It was kind of a jazz meets R&B meets, I have no idea. It was all over the place. Some singer-songwriter stuff. My second album, I decided to go more of the singer-songwriter side of things and, really concentrate on more of the lyrical music. But then I over-arranged it, and it got all wily again, and it was kind of, very, very musical. And now I'm going back to more of an R&B meets jazz meets Take Six meets just soulful. I'm trying to go for just more soul. Sometimes it takes a couple albums to figure out what you want to do.
Right.
I think I know now, and it's really just that soulful stuff. Whether it's singer-songwriter or it's rap or jazz, it's going to be soulful, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. But there's also music for hire, which I do a lot, and I've written a ton of pop tunes over the last few years. I've written a ton of jazz songs over the last couple of years. So it's music, and I want to do it all.
Yeah, you're kind of like, well, I'm influenced by so much, so I'm not going to just
for sure
kind of genre. Like, I'm going to do it all and
yep.
Cover all the bases.
Yes, absolutely. I like all the music too much to just stay in a box,
Right. What's your creative process like?
It's honestly different for every song. These are terrible answers to questions. Uh-oh, somebody's cranky. Sorry, this is an interview with me and my daughter. I love the production side of music, and over the last few years especially, I've studied more and more production and built my catalog of sounds, created all my a ton of 300 gigabytes worth of sounds, and I would say for this most current album, outside of a couple songs, I would start mostly with music, and I would sit and either play or a lot of songs I write on guitar because I'm not as good at guitar as I am at the piano, so it's less options, and it kind of makes it a little more challenging, but easier, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say most for this album. So for the second record, that was more singer-songwriter. It was a lot of lyrics first, melodies first. But for this, I'm trying to get the vibe of the song I want production-wise, and then kind of writing the lyrics and melodies to it. So, but it's all different. It's all, every song is different. This is terrible answers to your questions, but
no, it is, though,
the answer is everything.
Yeah, I know some people write lyrics first, and
for sure.
Like the last person I interviewed, he says he does the melody first, and then he melody over and over again, and then the lyrics come at a later time. So I'm always interested to see what people's creative process is like, because sometimes people are like, something came to me in the shower, and I just record it on a voice memo. For
sure. I have unlimited amounts of voice memos of just, lyrical lines or melody lines, or go to this chord and put this beat to it. I've co-written 50 songs over the last couple of years, and every one of them is different. A lot of people send me a melody that they heard, and then I'll give them chords or even build the track. Or a lot of people give me a lyric, and I'll pound out what I think the lyric means musically.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes in all different ways.
Mm-hmm. You met Brian McKnight while attending the prestigious Berklee School of Music. Tell us
Mm-hmm.
about you meeting him and how that changed your life.
I met him when I was 18, and like you said, at Berklee School of Music. It was my third semester at Berklee, and he was in town for a celebrity basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
And I, through friend of a friend of a friend, knew his musical director, who I was like, hey, I want you to produce some songs. I was a huge Brian McKnight fan at the time. Actually, some of my friends used to call me Brian McWhite. Whatever. Yeah, I'll take it. That was a long time ago. And he was in town, and when he's in Boston, he always likes to come to Berklee and meet some of he has a lot of friends that teach there, and he likes to hear some of the students. And so my friend Rob, who was his musical director, said, hey, Brian's in town. He's coming to Berklee. He wants to get a practice room and have a bunch of people come in and just play and sing.
Cool.
So he said, why don't you come down? I think I got to the practice room 2 hours before he was getting there, just to make sure I was on time and not late.
Yeah.
And he walked in, and it was Dennis, who's the gospel choir teacher at Berklee, is easily one of the best organ players I've ever heard in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was there, and he was playing, and Brian was playing, and then Rob said, I want to hear Matt. So I sat down, played and sang a song that I wrote. Don't even remember the song. And within maybe 60 seconds, 90 seconds of me singing, Brian got on the phone, and I was like, oh my God, he hates me. He hates this. I'm wasting his time. I'm wasting my time. This is terrible. And he said that he called so when I was done with my song, he said, I called my manager so he could listen to you. He was like, what are you doing? He was like, are you trying to stay in school and graduate? I was like, no, what do you want to do? What do you want me to do? And I literally dropped out of school that night and flew to LA the next day and stayed with him for a month or so. And we wrote a bunch of songs together, me, him, and Rob, who is just one of the most talented guys on the planet. And yeah, that was that. We been in touch, and 5 or so years later, I started touring with him, opening up for him and playing keys and singing background for him. And he's been a massive part of my life and career for sure.
Wow. What an opportunity. Like, he's on the
Storybook.
If your performance is like, oh my God, come to LA with me? What?
That dropped out of one of the most expensive schools in the country and was like, I'm out, peace out. And it was insane. It made no sense.
Oh my gosh, that is just so incredible that you were there at the time, and
Crazy.
You made a huge impression that he's like, oh my God, I wanted my manager to hear you and come to LA. And you said you stayed with him for a month?
Something like that. It was about a month, and he had a studio in Burbank, and we were there every single night till 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning writing. We would go home, sleep for 2 hours, then he'd have to get up and go do whatever talk morning show, and I'd go with him, and it was crazy. It was storybook, and it still makes no sense to this day.
Oh my gosh, but that's like, what? Yeah, people in the chat are like, this is so cool. Someone just said, I've never heard that story before.
That's awesome.
What a story, though. Who even has a story like that?
It's crazy. I actually wanted to write it in like official short story form, just to have it, as a written down, a nice little story.
Yes, of course. You've toured all over the world. You've played the legendary Lincoln Center. You've also played the Sydney Opera House. Tell me what your favorite music venues are, as well as some of the favorite cities to play in.
Oh, man. Usually the favorite venue and favorite city is whatever city I'm in at that time.
Yeah.
So, it's hard to pick, but I love Australia. Sydney Opera House was such a bucket list gig for me.
Yeah. Totally.
We were there for like 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It was insane. I love Australia. Love Australia. I can't say that enough. Melbourne was incredible. I can't remember the name of the theater we played, but it was stunning, just beautiful. But Lincoln Center is special. New York City is special. Will always have a special place in my heart because they love music there, and
Hmm.
I think more than any other city, they know the words to my songs, and they come out in New York. It's amazing. Lincoln Center was special. I played that with Megan Hilty,
Hmm.
who I think that we played it a couple times, and last time we played it was 2 years ago, and it was for PBS. So it's actually, and I've seen it played over the last holiday season and all that. So if you see it, check it out. I'm there and I'm singing with her and playing keys.
Yeah, so
But
cool.
yeah, every city is different. It's tough to say. I love playing in Los Angeles. I love playing in London. I love playing everywhere that they'll have me.
Yeah.
Another horrible answer to your question.
Do you prefer bigger legendary venues or like those small venues like Rockwood Music Hall?
It depends. I think when I'm backing someone up, or if I'm opening for somebody, like when I open up for Megan or Brian McKnight, I love the big venues because they get the big venues, and it gives
Yep.
me a chance to have that experience. Because if I go to Sydney Opera House, I'll be lucky if 3 people come. Uh,
Yeah.
but you get that opportunity to play in those. I love it. But when I do my own stuff, the intimate stuff is great because one, I know I don't have to worry about selling 20,000 seats. I can just sell 100 and I'll be good to go. And
Exactly.
yeah, so there's awesome things about both, but for my own stuff, I love the intimate stuff for sure. I love talking to people too. I like my shows are we're just hanging out and I'm singing and we're playing and you can interrupt me. I don't care, but it's just fun.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you could write a book with all these stories, all the people you've worked with, the fact that you were in New York and LA and touring and open up and just everything that's been happening like in music. What's one of your most memorable times on tour?
On tour. When I was, man, there's so many. You know what I'll say? This is going to be an odd answer. I'll say two things. One, actually on tour with Brian McKnight, and I was opening for him, and
Mhm.
they put my name on the marquee in Philadelphia, and I never saw my name with Brian McKnight's name on a marquee.
Oh,
So
cool.
I'll never forget that. So that's the actual tour story for you. But a different story I remember playing is I used to work with musicians on call, which is a group of bye. Does she want to say hi or is she grumpy? Come say hi. This is my daughter.
Come say
I'm on AirPods, so they can't hear you, but
hi.
say hi, baby. Say hi. She's
Hi.
there's so many lights on my keyboard that there she is. Say hi, Papa.
She's 4 months old today.
4 months old today, and she's a very good girl. And there's so many lights and things and screens in front of you, and I know you don't know what to look at. But mwah, that's Lila. Sorry.
Lila.
Um, huh? Okay, sorry. Um, the question. Oh yeah. So Musicians on Call is this wonderful, wonderful organization where musicians go to hospitals and sing for the patients privately.
Mhm.
And did it. I used to do it in New York all the time, and I did it. At, I think it was Sloan Kettering, which is a phenomenal hospital in New York.
Mhm.
And there was a man. He had to be in his 80s. Uh, had not talked or spoken, or talked and spoken. Had talked or smiled in a very long time.
Mhm.
And I walked in, and sometimes you walk in and think, God, they don't want to hear this. They just want to sit and probably relax.
Right.
But it just so happened that his daughter was there with her family, and I know I usually walk in and say, "What do you like to hear?" And his daughter said he loved Ray Charles, so I sang Georgia,
Mhm.
and he smiled and started nodding his head and started grunting a little bit. He
Mhm.
was just so happy, and I'll never forget that. And then when I was done, she came out in the hallway and said, "He hasn't smiled or spoken in 6 months. So
Wow.
thank you."
Oh my,
So I know you asked me of a tour story, but that's a moment that I'll never forget for sure.
incredible. I think it's the power of music. I just think
Yeah.
when people are in crazy situations, whether it's quarantine, whether they're in the hospital, I mean,
Hmm.
music just touches your soul and speaks to you in a way. And that's beautiful. That's so
Yeah,
amazing.
it's a story I always tell, especially when people ask that question, because tour stories. There's so many. I could tell you about me and Brian McKnight hanging out in clubs in Africa,
Yeah.
and but that story touches me for sure. That's on the top of my list when people ask me that question.
It's such a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
You've worked with Stevie Wonder, Dave Koz, Anderson Paak, CeeLo, and obviously countless other people. What musicians inspire you?
Oh man, all of them. There's another terrible answer. Um, Obviously, Brian McKnight meant a lot to me because when I was a kid, I started listening to him,
Mhm.
and to have the chance to meet him, sit with him in the studio, see how he works. And I've seen him in several different studios. I played on some of his records. Seeing how he does it was incredible. Seeing how quick he is at vocals and getting to sit with him and ask him, so how did you do that riff that you did there, or what was that chord that you played there? That is unlike any experience ever. So I would say he's on the top of the list outside of my parents and stuff like that. At the other end of the spectrum, James Taylor's brother Livingston
Hmm.
pulled me aside also when I was 18, and I started touring with him. And he does smaller venues, and I did most of just the Northeast stuff.
Hmm.
And that was an experience in itself because that was a whole other type of music, a whole other type of show. It's just him and guitar. I got to play with James Taylor a few times because of that. So having all that um, was massive. But I do take something from everybody I play with. At the end of the day, there's nothing better than playing with your friends at a club
Hmm.
and just vibing and saying, hey, let's let this song go a little extra. Let's so and so take a solo and then pass it to me and I'll do
Yeah.
all that stuff is so much fun.
Yeah. And I think, well, because I go to a lot of shows as well. And when I see musicians up there just loving what they're doing,
Yeah,
definitely tell. Like
where
the
you don't let the song end. Let's just keep it going.
keep
Yeah,
going. 15
yeah,
minutes long. Go for it.
yeah, exactly. This could be the only song we play.
Who would you like to collaborate with?
I love so you mean like writing songs or in the studio or aside of people I've played with, I'd love to sit and write a song with Stevie Wonder. I
Yeah.
love the way two of my most current artists that I listen to constantly is John Mayer and D'Angelo.
Hmm.
Their approach in writing everything they do with music is when I heard D'Angelo's Voodoo for the first time in 2000, it changed the way I think about music, like period. Like I mix music based on that record. I produce music sometimes based on that. So when I would say I would love to sit with a piano and guitar with John Mayer and write a song. I would love to sit with two pianos and D'Angelo and write a song. I mean, these are crazy things to think about, but yeah, I'll go with those two for now, outside of Stevie and James Taylor and all those other guys that I love so much.
Yes. But the thing is, once you speak it into the universe, you say, this is what I want the universe to bring back to me, and then it happens.
Yeah, I've been speaking that for like 15 years, so I'm ready. I'm ready for it to
It's
happen.
gonna happen. It's gonna happen. 2021 is your year.
I hope so. We'll see.
In fall of 2019, you had the honor of performing with Christina Aguilera at her residency in
Mm,
Las Vegas, and you were singing Say Something for about 3 weeks,
yeah,
which is
yep,
unbelievable. How did this
crazy.
opportunity come about for you?
So crazy enough, Rob, the guy that introduced me to Brian McKnight back in the day, is Christina Aguilera's musical director.
Hmm.
And they were looking for somebody not only to sing background for her, but to Say Something with her.
Yeah.
So Rob called me up 3 days before the first show in Vegas and said, hey, what are you doing for the next month? And I said, I got a bunch of gigs. I got a bunch of stuff. He's like, can you cancel them? I was like, I don't know why. He was like, well, I need you to come out here and sing a duet with Christina Aguilera. And I need you to learn, literally, he gave me 35 songs. I need you to learn all these songs in the next couple days. It was stressful.
Wow.
But how do you say no to that? So,
Of course
yeah, I
not.
said yes, exactly. So I said yes. I flew out the next day. I had 2 days before the first show to learn all that stuff. I went in fairly cold. Me and Christina for that duet had one rehearsal. And I had met her before. I sang background for her 10 years ago for a tour that actually got canceled, but I was one of the background singers for that. But this was different because this was, there's fireworks, there's explosions, there's $1 million, stage. And then all the lights go down. One single spotlight comes up, and I walk out and start going, say something, I'm giving up on you.
Yeah.
I don't get nervous. That shook me. I think because of the lack of preparation. I've never been that guy that gets the big opportunity and just nails it and just, yeah, take that. I'm just like, oh God, I'm so nervous, and I still get nervous.
Yeah.
But that's how that song started, and the song ended with me and her singing together, holding hands in the center stage. So
Wow.
it was a lot to take in.
What?
And I don't even know how well I did. Unfortunately, they asked me to go on the European tour. That was after that, but I couldn't because I had like 5 gigs with Megan Hilty, and I didn't want to cancel on. I like to keep commitments, but hopefully
Right.
I'll be back out with both of them.
Yeah.
That was an experience and I haven't done the pop thing in quite a while, so it was brand new to me. And those fans are insane, like for the good and the bad. They are crazy, amazing. And it was fun to make some of those fans. It was fun. I still keep in touch with a lot of them. Crazy, crazy experience though. We all had a crush on Christina Aguilera when we were teenagers.
Oh
So
my
to be able to, yeah, yeah.
gosh.
And she
Yeah.
still sings her tail off.
Yeah.
To be able to hold hands with her and sing and look in her eyes, that was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Vegas residencies, because you're right. It's just like it's the same show. You're probably doing it what 5, 6 nights out of the week, or maybe every
We
night.
did, no. So we actually did, I think four a week, but we also would fly to other cities on nights off to do other shows.
Oh wow.
Um, and yeah, and there would be nights where we were in New Orleans once, and I was like, okay, we're not doing Say Something. I can relax, just sing background vocals. Like 20 minutes before we go on stage, Christina wants to do Say Something. I'm like, oh God, because then my heart is pounding again. Because I suck at learning lyrics. I've never been great. I forget lyrics like you wouldn't believe. So I thank God there were teleprompters so I could read the lyrics.
Yeah.
But to look in her eyes, teleprompter, read, it was a lot to take in. And like I said, there's other singers that would go in and nail that with all the confidence in the world. Not me. I've never been that guy. So I was shaking. I was, by the time we would touch hands at the end of the song, sweat just dripping down my arm. But she was cool. She's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
she was great.
the thing is, I've talked to a bunch of other musicians too, and they're like, you know what? You have to kind of be nervous because if you're not nervous, it's kind of like you're just like, oh, I'm here and I'm singing
For
back.
sure.
But
Yeah.
it's so cool to be nervous. It's like, oh my God, this is what I'm doing. It's something
Yep.
that very few people would have an opportunity to do, and
For
that's
sure. Every
amazing.
moment I cherished, and yeah, if you go in with too much confidence, you could crash and burn for sure.
Right.
So I think the nervousness made me over prepare, which can be
Yeah,
bad as well. But like I said, I only had 3 days, so I was still learning songs. A week after the first show, I was still learning all the songs, and then they would throw in, "Hey, we're doing burlesque tonight." I'm like, I don't know that song. What's my part? I don't even know. So you figure it out, and I think the thing about some of those gigs is you have to be super quick.
right.
So yeah.
Very cool. So you're constantly putting out new music and writing for other people.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for you, Matt?
Next is I just released a string of singles over the last month. One with Brian McKnight Jr., who's a phenomenal artist as well. You said what's next, and I'm telling you what already happened, but I'm building up. We released a Christmas song with Brandon Williams called "Christmas Eve with You." Super fun, kind of old school R&B song. I just released a song with my friend Jessica Carvo, who is one of the finest singer-songwriters out there. We did a version of Paul McCartney's "Wonderful Christmas Time," but we twisted it. We put our own twist to it, and I really loved the way that came out.
Yeah.
We did that super quick too, within a matter of a couple weeks, and I love the way it came out. And then another just one of the baddest singer-songwriters, guitar players out there, Melissa Polinar, put out a record it was the 10th anniversary of one of her records, and she had all her friends sing songs.
That's so cool.
Album is a killer. I think it's the pin tweet or the pin comment. I did one of her songs called "This Road," and I love doing the harmony take 6 Jacob Collier thing. So I did that to it with some jazz piano, and I think it came out really cool. But so next is that song, same version, but a duet with Melissa for my next record, which will hopefully be out this summer. The baby is, hopefully next summer. But that song will be on there. I got another song with Jessica Carver coming out, hopefully in like February, March, called "Why Don't We Go?" And it's just a beautiful, weird ballad. that we worked on. I've got a bunch of songs with a guy named Arnold McCullough coming out. He's like a legendary singer. He's sung with James Taylor, Bonnie Raitt, Lyle Lovett, Phil Collins, still does. He does, and he's not just a background singer. He sings solos with these guys too. He's a legend, absolute legend. We got a bunch of stuff coming out, and we released like 4 or 5 tunes last year as well. So check those out. But I'm thinking album in the summer, which I'm going to be working really hard on. And I got there's a wonderful foundation called Broadway Cares. They're working with the Actors Fund. I wrote 2 songs for their last show. I'm writing another song for them. They have another virtual show that benefits actors that are, because Broadway is done now till, what is it, May, I think, or something like that.
I don't know.
March,
I don't know.
maybe. Yeah, it's done for a while. So
yeah,
all the money goes to the Actors Fund to help out, the people that are struggling from the canceled Broadway show. So I got some of that stuff coming out. Again, when you ask me a question, I say, oh, everything and everyone. That's pretty much my answer to every question you ask. But I have, hopefully at the end of the year, I got a residency with Megan Hilty in New York, and we're going, we have a ton of shows coming up in the fall. Who knows if they'll happen? I hope they do.
I hope so.
Yeah, hopefully back out on the road for sure. But yeah, just, an album, bunch of collaborations, whatever comes. I have a couple more songs coming out with Brandon Williams, who's a Grammy nominated producer.
Yeah.
We are doing a cover of Dionne Warwick's Deja Vu. I'm actually recording vocals for that after this interview.
Very cool.
If I have a voice, who knows? Or if I don't have to change a diaper.
Oh, gosh.
And we have another song. He actually resurrected a song that I wrote 15 years ago. Yeah, so just a lot of stuff.
Awesome. So lots of great stuff to come from Matt. So please, if you don't already, please follow Matt. Matt, where can people find you, support you, all that kind of good stuff?
I'm at Matt Cusson on everything. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, / Matt Cusson on Facebook. I'm everywhere you listen to music. Yeah, everywhere. Just MattCusson. I'm horrible at promoting myself. So yeah.
But you're busy. You're doing a lot of stuff, though.
I guess. Yeah, I know. But everybody keeps telling me. I get once a week. Man, I didn't even know you had a new song out. Man, what are you doing? Like, I'm like, I'm working, man. I just, just go search me, I guess. Yeah.
Definitely. So we met your daughter earlier. You became a father in September. How has she inspired your musical journey?
Oh, man. Everything is for her now. Everything is for her and my wife. And I've already written a couple songs for her. I can't get through a sappy song without weeping now. She has also inspired me with a very tired voice, but that's okay. It's worth it. Yeah, it's different. We were talking about it earlier. You could prepare as much as you want until she's born. You have no idea how it's going to affect everything you do. I work harder and quicker now. One, because I only get to work 2 hours a day, maybe. Yeah. But I want to, the feeling of wanting to make her proud, the feeling of wanting to support her and give her everything she deserves. It's different, man. There's a whole new emotion every time you play now. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And I love showing her off. Like, my wife is like, well, I'll make sure to keep her out of the room. I was like, no, I love it when you walk back and forth. I love it. I love to hear her coo in the corner. It's great content.
I think it's great content too, because I didn't know she was in the room earlier. So when I said, oh, please bring her in.
Yeah.
I mean, sit with you and have the interview. I'm totally down with that.
She did, yeah, and she she has before. I don't know. I did I sang background for Dua Lipa virtually last a month ago, and I sat her with me. So we were on the Jingle Ball.
Yes, I saw it.
Yeah, so now that she was on TV, she's getting her own IMDb page now, and she's already a star. So I trust me, I take advantage of the cuteness for sure.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. Congratulations.
She's fun. Thank you very much. Exhausting, but the love is real for sure.
Yes. What are your favorite songs to perform and why?
Of my own or anything?
Anything.
Um, I love. Oh man, that's a tough one. Everything and everyone is the answer to that question. No, I there's a couple songs from my first record that resonate, still resonate. My first record came out like 10 years ago, and there's a couple songs that still resonate with people. Um, One of them is my cover of John Mayer's "Comfortable."
Hmm.
I recorded it. Man, I must have been 21 or so when I recorded that, and I put it on MySpace. Remember that?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it got so yeah, it's that long ago, and that kind of kickstarted everything because up until then, I've been playing and writing and local stuff in Berkeley and the Brian McKnight thing, but nothing ever came out from that. All the songs we wrote, unfortunately, are kind of in a vault somewhere. But so the stuff was happening, but nobody really. I never had a song out. So "Comfortable" was like the first song I put out on MySpace, and it was awesome. I recorded it in my apartment on a really bad, I think I was using Digital Performer. I don't know if you know all the equipment, but old stuff, really old stuff. I didn't know anything about mixing. I didn't know. I just kind of was like, oh, voice sounds good there, and piano sounds good there, and let's make it louder there.
Yeah.
Um, and it ended up being one of the bigger things I did. And then there's another song I wrote called "Every Step," which is actually a remix of it, is going on my next record. So those two songs really, they're just fun because one, the audience sings them back, um, and that's always fun. But they have special meaning because they're like the first, one of the first originals that hit people, and one of the first songs that I recorded that hit people. So
Hmm.
those two, and then there's always covers that are fun.
Yeah.
There's so many covers that I sing that are so much fun. I just did a cover of I think you played it on your ad, "Heart to Heart" by Kenny Loggins, and
Oh my gosh.
man,
I love the original, but when I heard your
yeah,
version,
me too.
I'm like, yes, man,
Thank
yes.
you. I went in. I went in and had a bunch of harmonic liberties with it, but it's one of those songs where I go when you go, does anything last forever? The whole crowd. I don't know. So much fun. So much fun.
Such an incredible song. And like, I
Oh
love
man.
first from like the 80s because I love the 80s. Like, I think there's so much good music in the 80s.
Yeah, for sure.
People bring it to life and it gets
Hmm.
and it reaches, the music lovers of today. I think
Yeah.
that's so incredible. Like for instance, the Fleetwood Mac song that got
Yes. Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, I appreciated that song when it came out, but
Yep.
then you think of, oh my God, there's this guy, he's on TikTok and he has like ocean spray in his hand, and now all these
Now
people
he's a
are,
celebrity.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. It plus the songs back then were, I don't want to say better written because everything has its time and place, but man, when not a lot of people covered like that song in particular because it's very complicated
yeah,
as far as the chords and the stuff. So it's fun to do the songs that aren't always covered. I could have done "Yesterday" by the Beatles, but I
yeah.
wanted to do something that you don't hear being covered all the time. And ever since I was a kid, that song, because I was a baby when that song was out, and that song hit me the second I heard it. That song and all those tunes, they're the
Oh,
best. Kenny Loggins, Michael McDonald, Chicago, all
yes.
those songs they're some of my favorite stuff. Steely Dan, don't get me started.
Oh, Steely Dan. We see. My mom's a huge Steely Dan fan, and she
Hmm.
just, yeah, she constantly played Steely Dan when I was growing up in the house, and I was
Yep.
like, this is some of the best music out there because you think of your child,
Yeah.
what your parents played,
Yep.
like parents played a lot of music, and
There's
I'm
a
so
lot. Yeah.
my mom listened to good music because it's not
Hmm.
like I'm sitting here listening to some bad music. Like
Right.
Steely, no one
That's
can touch.
quality. It's as quality as it gets.
Yeah, like
Quality as it gets. Yeah.
phenomenal, phenomenal performers.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. And everything. When I always loved Stevie, I've always loved James Taylor, but the stuff they did in the '80s was amazing.
Yeah.
Like the '80s was like a brand new. It was just like a whole new life because synthesizers were born and people were writing totally different, mixing things totally different. It was awesome.
Yeah, of course. So, guys, if you haven't heard Matt's version of Heart to Heart, please, please go listen to Heart to Heart. It is phenomenal.
Thank
Amazing.
you. Thank you very much.
What's the best advice you've ever been given?
Uh, honestly, this is going to be another one of those answers. Livingston Taylor told me when I was 18, play everywhere, work with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when you're 18 and you know, people say you're good, you're like, I'm going to go get a record deal and I'm going to make a record and I'm going to, you know, I ain't got to worry about anything.
Yeah.
And I thought that way for a little while, especially after meeting Brian McKnight. I was like, I'm set. I'm good to go. But he was like, whether it's Madison Square Garden or Starbucks, go play, go meet everybody, network. And I think that is you can never be too good to play in a new place or to learn from somebody. There's so much stuff to learn. You know, it's between that, and he also said learn to play an instrument, which I already do. But a lot of my singer friends, younger singer friends, I think it's so important to, one, be able to write music on your own, to be able to perform it on your own. I think those two things really stuck with me. And ever since then, I could have stopped where I was at playing piano when I was 18, but I constantly want to get better. You know, the Megan Hilty stuff was massive for me because I never really played, you know, Broadway. And that just opened my world to a whole nother plateau. So constantly learning, constantly playing everywhere. I'll go play at Starbucks tonight. I don't care. Well, not tonight. Let's wait till COVID ends. But
yeah, wait till COVID ends.
Yeah. I'm going to stay here.
Cases are increasing. But no, I think that's I think you need to network. Like, you have to be like, hey, I'll work with this person and that person, because you never know you could come out. And maybe you're like, I kind of don't want to work with that person, but you end up working with them, and then it's like such an incredible collaboration. Like, you just always have to be open to that. And I think that's
and it's all music, man. Music is supposed to be, let's get together and create. And I love, you know, kind of living it by that. So
definitely. So now's the part of the show where Matt's going to perform for us. So Matt, take it away.
Oh man. Well, I guess I'll do, we talked about This Road by Melissa Polinar. It came out just a few days ago, on the 28th. So I'm going to attempt to play this. Feel free to be my sound engineer, and, you know, you can talk. I don't care. Talk and say, hey, sing louder or put the music up. We'll see how it goes. But I think I really want to, I want you to hear the arrangement that I did for this. So this is This Road, written by Melissa Polinar, arranged by me. And I hope I do anything right here. We'll see how this goes. Let me know how this sounds. It's about 80 tracks of vocals and piano. Oh, somewhere behind me, for miles they remind me nothing stays the same. Oh, see, outside my window, soft as a pillow, memories fall like rain. Sound all right? Maybe this standing beside you, making me smile through it. Oh, I never knew what was out there waiting. Directions were always changing, alone in a crowd. So I turned around. You out in the distance, I'm skipping every exit, close the space between. Meant to be, making me smile through it. I never knew what was out there waiting. Directions always changing, alone in a crowd. So I turned around, fast enough. Came this far without your love. Maybe this road is taking me from where I was meant to be. Standing beside you, making me smile through anything. I never knew directions were always changing along the crowd. Yeah. Directions were always changing along the crowd. So I turned around. Maybe this road is taking me far from you. Maybe this road is taking me far from you. Ooh. Man, I've never sung that live. That's harder than I thought. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm so happy the way that came out. Thank you very much.
What an incredible rendition.
Thank you very much. She's such an amazing songwriter, singer. I had to twist it. If I did it like her, it wouldn't have been as good. So I kind of gave it my own little push to it.
Yeah, very cool. And you have another as well, right?
Yeah. Well, since we talked about it, as I said, one of my favorite songs to do was my first single from my first record on Spectre Records called Every Step. Mm-hmm. It is remixed for my next record. It's called Every Step. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee and let this intro ring. And it's a little faster, it's a little sexier, it's a little, it's a little more 2021. Again, let me know about volumes. The intro might be a little soft, but it'll get into it. Never passed it back. Didn't want to wake you up. Never said a word. Thought that I had heard you. Now I'm a long way from home, and I'm trying not to reach out for the phone. You know I should be running. So simple, baby. All you ever had to say is, doesn't really matter where I run to. 'Cause every step just leads me back to you. Got your picture in a frame. It's there to help me dream of how things should have been. Do you ever feel the same? Are you looking for my face on the back of the 2%? Now I'm a long way from home, and I'm trying not to reach out for the phone. I am walking away, even though I should be running. So simple, baby, all I ever had to say. Doesn't really matter where I run to, 'cause every step just leads me back to you. Back to you is where I always go. You are my home. But why is home a place where I can stay? I guess I'll just save it for next time I'm running away. Now I'm alone, away from home, trying not to reach out for the phone. Oh, even though I should be running, so simple, baby. All you ever had to say is, and it doesn't really matter where I run to. Every step just leads me back to you. Hey, hey, hey. Leads me back to you. Oh,
Beautiful.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
That was
Every step.
amazing, amazing. So if anybody has questions for Matt, please feel free to write them in the chat below.
Nothing.
And it is a little bit delayed as well. Where do you see your career?
It's all good. Man, wherever it takes me. I just want to reach more ears. I want to put my fingerprints on more music, no matter what. Yeah, or whatever. I want to be this, but leveled up. I want to upgrade. What instrument do you want to learn next? Bass.
Oh.
Bass all day long. I'm an okay keyboard bass player, but every time I finish a track, I'm like, nah, this needs real bass. And I hear lines in my head, but man, there's some amazing bass players out there that I'll take any day over whatever I program. So bass would be really, really fun.
Definitely.
Where do you want to perform next? Wherever you are. Absolutely, wherever you are. I mean, it'll be fun to go back to New York and play because it's been a long time. And that's kind of, it's, you know, it's my home away from home. But honestly, everywhere and anywhere. I'll be happy to play anywhere once this pandemic is over. Anywhere. I'm at Starbucks. I'll go out in my front yard and bring a guitar and play for 2 hours. I don't care.
You want to you say that? I'm not sure how many episodes it was. I think it was 2 or 3 episodes ago. This guy was at his parents' in Maryland, and he literally stood in front of his parents' house on the front steps, had his keyboard out there, and he was playing, and all the neighbors came over and just set up lawn chairs.
That's the best. That's the best. Yeah, I whatever it takes. Unfortunately, where I will play next is a bunch of virtual shows. But yeah, I'm one man. I can't wait to get out of the house, get on a plane, or get in the car and go play anywhere.
I know.
Anywhere at all. I saw another question. Electric. Oh, electric bass for sure. I love upright bass, but I feel like that's so. Like I play guitar, so I know the notes on an electric bass. Upright bass would be a whole nother beast for me. Plus, they're really big and obnoxious and heavy and
they're huge
and expensive. So yeah, I'll take the electric for now.
How can people support your career? People in the chat.
Man, just check out the music. I'm like I said, I'm really bad at promoting myself. Go look for the new music. I'm really proud of it. Even though Christmas is over, wonderful Christmas time with my friend Jess. Christmas Eve with you with Brian McKnight Jr. This Road that I sang first just came out less than a week ago. Go check out the new stuff. I'm going to be releasing a lot more over the next year or two. I have so many songs to release. And Man, if I had everything loaded up, I'd even sample a little bit for you, but I do not have it loaded up, and it would take a couple minutes. But anyways, yeah, there's new stuff. I just did a version of "What a Wonderful World" with this orchestra over in Europe. It brings tears to my eyes to hear, you know, it's like stepping into a warm bath when this orchestra comes in the song. It's incredible. So I don't. That might be a single. I have a song with Marie Dahlstrom, who, oh my God, if you haven't heard yet, she is over in London. Unbelievable singer-songwriter. She is into the science of singing as well. So she's somewhere else with it. She's incredible. Check out her. We got this awesome tune coming out. Yeah, just check out the new stuff. I'm like we promoted before. I'm all over social media, and yeah, rinse, repeat. You know, spread the word, come to the shows, all that stuff.
Definitely, definitely. So guys, if you don't already, please make sure to follow Matt here on Instagram and all other social channels so you can stay in touch with him and support all of the new music that's coming up. Any last words from you, Matt?
Thank you. You are awesome. I love that you are using, you know, you're interviewing musicians, and we're learning about new musicians, and we're revisiting some of the ones we knew. I appreciate people like you that really are keeping us alive, really. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. Matt, I feel like if we were in a global pandemic, it would be so difficult for me to get in touch with you because you'd be over in Europe and you'd be here and you'd be there. So the thing is, I love doing this. I love introducing people to new music because I miss music. I miss performing. Like watching you guys, supporting you guys. So I just love that I'm able to bring my platform together. And I just want to thank you so much for taking the time. And we appreciate you. And please keep providing beautiful music. And if you don't already follow me, please make sure to follow me. As if you don't know, I have Vibin with Ashley Live, and I support amazing musicians all over the U.S. And I have so many more musicians to bring to the show. So please make sure to follow me if you aren't already, and please make sure to follow Matt as well.
Appreciate you, Ashley, so much.
Thanks, Matt.
Happy New Year.
Stay safe. Thank you guys so much for all your questions, and Happy New Year. Wear a mask.
Please. See you later, guys.
Guys, bye-bye.